Welcome back to the review with Heather, and I am Heather of Heather's Passion Academy. Today we are reviewing the Never Ever Mets, and this is episode 8. And that episode is entitled "Those Tables Be Turning." Now, if I was naming it, I'd be like the messy episode. So we're gonna get right into it because y'all know it might have been a couple of days. I had a lot going on this weekend, but we're gonna go ahead and get into the episode and talk about what happened this time. And of course, this is a continuation from last week. So yeah, let's get started. Y'all. Okay, so the episode continues with Shay and Josh hashing out information um, that Diamond told her about Alexis. And if you remember, they were talking about Alexis, which is one of the castmates that left early in the process, day one. And um, the problem with that is Diamond said she kept in touch with her because she really likes Alexis. Um, and so this altercation that she and well verbal altercation that Shay and Josh are in the middle of still is stemming from this. They get to a point where they're talking, and he just finally tells her, like, I've told you everything. I've been pretty, upfront and honest with you. And why would I switch that up now? She looks back and decides, well, hey, I don't really know these other ladies, but I've known Josh for 12 years, and at this point I'm gonna have to choose to believe him. And I mean, I think that, yeah, but he did have a baby on you, so let's just remember that. So anyway, they decide to hug and makeup and whatever else you want to call it. They kissed and made up. And so then the next morning, Josh talks to Gregg about the situation between Diamond, Shay, Alexis, and him on the allegations that he was trying to sleep with Alexis. And so, of course, Gregg's like, that's not cool at all. So, that's just telling you a lot of folks like, I don't know. I'm not really sure about this. It's a lot that happened that first night. So we're not sure. We don't know. We don't know. Um, so back in the house, Alexis, not Alexis, Shay, Diamond, and what's the other girl? Millie are talking about the situation. Also, so Shay asked Diamond how this conversation came up. She said, well, she called her and talked to her, and then she just kind of shared the information with her. And the problem that Shay has is that Alexis has her phone number. She could have reached out to her and told her what was up if she felt like that was really an issue. Um because it should have been a conversation between the two of them and not a third party. And I totally um agree with that because it just doesn't make sense to call a third party within the house and tell them about something when they clearly could have been a matter of a phone call. If this happened the way she said it happened, that was a matter of a phone call. If you really want to be concerned about the other person and making sure that this person, this other woman that you have formed a friendship with, trying to make sure that they're okay, then I think that the conversation would have been between the two of them. So we don't really know. A lot of this, I can believe, is just some he said, she said. So we'll see. We still got a couple of episodes, unfortunately, left. That is really sad. Yeah. So Diamond says, she heard that they were getting matching tattoos, and that was the reason why she decided to go ahead and tell her, because she didn't want her to be blindsided, and she knows she has trust issues. Then she said, us women need to stick together because men do things and they get themselves out of situation. But here's my problem, Diamond. You came up in here talking about how you don't do women and you don't do all this and all that, and now all of a sudden you a girl's girl, but it just sounds like you just being a bone toter. You're just going around picking up little bones, throwing them back and forth, and trying to act like, I don't like it. I don't like it. She and Aaron keep showing that all they're trying to do is act like they got more knowledge and experience than everybody simply because they're a few years older. And you need to check that. But anyway, Shay wants to know, is Diamond being messy or she being a big sis? And I don't know, but they like to mind everybody's business but they own. So in the next scene, the couples meet up with Taronda again for yet another game with no prizes. And this game is called the hot seat. And as she's talking to them, she's letting them know each couple is going to sit on a couch. The other couples will submit a question to the couple so they can answer it. So that's the couch there. And while they're sitting there, the couples are submitting questions and they put them into the glass, and then she will read out questions to them. And if there are some other questions that need to be asked, they can at that time to just kind of clear up things. So first up was Lil Aaron and Jody. And they, of course, sit on the couch. Now, here's what I found interesting. She wanted him to move because she wanted to sit in a particular place. So they had a little bit of a kerfuffle trying to sit down because she wanted to sit on her good side and told him to just move. She was being really rude to him, and he told her to say please. She finally does say please, and she's like, look, Toronto's like, y'all move on because this y'all taking up too much time, and really y'all can just go home. Y'all could have just skipped this. Just go home. Go home. Go home. Anyway, they settled in while the other couples were writing the questions and dropping them in the glass. The first question was, do you see each other short term or long term? Aaron says long term. She says term. Girl, go home. Damn. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? He says owning businesses, taking trips. She says, I'm not mad at that. Girl, I don't know why, and Aaron, just pack your stuff, baby. It's okay. Just go home. She don't like you. How many more times she got to tell you that? They used to say, don't let a man tell you more than twice he don't like you. But I feel like Aaron needs to hear, don't let this woman tell you no more times that she don't like you, because she don't like you. She don't like you at all. Anyway, Millie says, do y'all not want to get married? And she goes, well, we have similar views on marriage. Girl, what are those views? Because it looked like you just say stuff and he just agrees. And so she says marriage will be a business decision. He says he feels the same. He's just going along to get along, whatever. And then Taronda asks her, why does she seem so uncomfortable? And she says, cause she cold. It's cause she's being cold to him. Cause girl, whatever. Now the other thing was, of course, Big Aaron want to say, oh, that's not true. You get married for look, most people get married for a business arrangement. Let's just be clear. They get married for the tax aspects. Love may already be there, and some people don't need marriage in order to prove they're in a relationship. But for the benefit of having access to things with a spouse that you don't have access to, that's where the business part comes in. Now, I don't know if that's what she means about it, but to me, that's what the business aspect of marriage is. So that if something happens to your significant other, you are a spouse and you are entitled to certain things as a spouse. So I don't know. I'm just trying to anyway, they need to go home. Tired of them. Okay, Josh and Shay. Now, when they sit down, the question was, do you truly trust Josh? And she says, I do. She looks into his eyes and lets him know that, yes. Jody asked about the possibility that their relationship was challenged, could have been broken. How did they navigate it? And she said, well, they talked about it. They did some other things. They kind of worked it out and everything. And they talked about it. How does your mom feel about Josh? She says she hasn't brought it up yet because it's an internet relationship. Josh says she's ready at any time. Diamond wants to know what she's hiding. And whatever. Diamond, there's a lot of people who don't mention relationships in person or online because they just don't want to deal with it until it's time to deal with it. So even with family members, if you're a private person, yeah. Anyway, again, whatever. Chris and Sandia, my least favorite. Like, anyway, how are you guys working through communication issues? He says, well, I'm gonna let her answer. I'm like, okay, well, see, there you go. You got a communication issue because you can't even communicate how you working through your communication issues. She says he's working on it. He still can improve. Basically, he says he has to make time for her because he's so busy. And then when was he was pressed about what he does for a living, cause Toronto said, you act like you just have no time. He says, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, sir, what are you entrepreneuring though? What does that mean? That's such a broad term. And again, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of him. Now I'm sick of them because he keeps showing how much of a lack of care and concern he has, and she's accepting it. So I'm tired of both of them. Y'all can go home. Y'all, why we got more episodes after this? But anyway, Millie tells him a man will make time for what he wants. Then he goes on this rant about how he'll never make time for a woman until she shows him he's ready. Blah, blah, blah. Sandia, go home. Why are y'all dealing with these people? Anyway, Millie says if another person did something, as far because so here's the thing. Chris is going on this rant talking about, this relationship he had previously. He's got to show these women have to show him whatever. Millie wants to know if a person did something, why does this person here have to suffer? Now they go back and forth now, but the truth is a lot of times what happens is people will punish the new partner for something that happened between them and the old partner. So he do need to work that part out. Um yeah, Chris just has a lot of issues because of the fact that he had an ex and he was in a relationship for 8 years is all he keeps talking about. I personally think he's just not over that person. Taronda asked her, how does that make, she asked Sandia, how does that make you feel? She says she don't know. Sandia don't never know how she feel. She just be looking like I'm here so I won't get fined. Um, the next question was, how does it feel to be controlled by a man? She says she's not being controlled and he don't control her. She don't control him. She says that she gives her input and he makes decisions, da 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 da, blah, 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 girl, whatever. Um, how does it feel? Then they ask him, how does he feel about gender? How does she feel about gender roles? And she says this is one they tend to butt heads on. The question was asked to both of them, can a man and a woman lead together? She says, yes, of course. Chris says he doesn't think so because women are bad decision makers. I'm like, okay, your little condescending self. Taronda steps in and lets him know that what he's saying about women is very offensive, not only to the women in the room, but also, maybe his, people in his family, his mom, his grandmother, and everything. Well, the thing that gets me about Chris though is it seems like he wants to be with someone who's not on the same page with him when it comes to um, leadership and structure of a relationship. Seems like that maybe that's what happened in that 8-year relationship is he was trying to force somebody to do something that they ain't want to do. Like you keep calling women bad decision makers, but look like you can't make a good decision. So you call women emotional, but you sure got emotional about talking about that ex. So, we'll see. Um, I wouldn't waste my time or energy on people like Chris because he gonna think the way he think and I'm gonna think the way I think. So there's no point in having a conversation because nobody's going to move their thought. Nobody's gonna change their minds about the way they think. So he just needs to find someone that's on the same page with him. That's what needs to happen. Anywho, moving on to Greg and Millie. Greg, the question was, how do you feel about Greg being a womanizer? Greg had, some things with some women going on in the past. He has he had a little fun in the past and was doing a little much, a lot of much. Millie says she, of course, doesn't condone it, but at least he's working on it. And he says he's like being around, he just pretty he says he has a proclivity to women. Great, you just want everything. You just want your cake and eat it too. Just say that. You just didn't have any parameters on when you was out there dipping it and doing it. It's okay. Say those things though. Quit trying to pretty it up. But he's saying that's not what he wants. Now he wants to focus on Millie. He wants to show her, he hopes to show her the intentions that he have. Of course he loves women, but he really likes her. Josh speaks up for him though, to vouch for him, and says that Gregg has been honest, and he believed that a lot of times she also makes assumptions from past experiences, which makes it difficult for them to build a connection. So and I know that a lot of the couples are rooting for them, and they always tell her she's being too harsh. And so a few things though. I think she can afford to be a little harsh with him when it comes to certain things. If she needs to be reassured about certain things, if she knows that his past is to typically just be out there doing whatever with whoever, then yeah, it's going to raise a couple of flags. And yes, I'm going to need to know that this is no longer the behavior you choose to participate in. So I do think it's just the way she says things, because she does go to 60 so fast. She goes 0 to 60. She gets very loud. And she says, admittedly, she's loud to protect herself. And so people like that a lot of times are probably in a state of being triggered when it comes to certain behaviors and conversations. So I know we're harder on Millie a lot of times. We're usually harder on the people that blow up and don't look at the other partner and say, perhaps they're part of the problem, because they could be triggering a certain emotion. And a lot of times we haven't learned how to, self-regulate, or just sit and figure out what our emotion is. So I'm just gonna say I ain't letting Gregg off the hook. Millie has been hurt, and Millie has been in certain situations. Um, but also, if Gregg has the type of behavior where he does things like that, he needs to take some responsibility. And I see he's trying to, but just remember, we ain't letting nobody off the hook. Anyway, Gregg lets her know that she doesn't have to carry all of that on her own. Let him be strong for her. And she was like, just, hold me and put your arms around me. Tell me you're going to be there for me. And I think that actually this was a good exercise for them, because they were able to kind of iron out a few things with their relationship. So, yeah, good job, y'all. So then Dymond and Aaron, of course, the seniors, as they call them, get into the chair. And when I say everybody came at them, everybody came at them, because really at the end of the day, everybody's problem is they be in the middle of everybody's business. So let's just be honest about that. Stay out of everybody up there is grown. Stay out their business. Anyway, they said, are you guys jealous of other couples because you're older? And of course, by Aaron trying to sound like he older and smarter, which, sir, no, absolutely not. He said whatever they've been through, he's been through, check this out now, quadruple. Aaron, quadruple. Okay, that's the word you gonna say, quadruple. Anyway, the next question was, does Dymond love Aaron? Basically, do you even love Aaron? Do you even like him? Because everybody said all they do is they hear him talking about Dymond, this is my Dymond, blah blah blah, but they never hear her reciprocating the love. And she said, I tell him all the time that I love him. Yeah, that's what I do. I do that. And Aaron said, well, it's just because, she's always with me. She ain't with y'all all the time. Like, y'all in this house. So whatever. So little Aaron turns to him and says, so y'all can acknowledge that things can happen between a couple and no one sees it and it's still real. And everybody's face was like, ooh, what? Oh no, mic drop, blah, blah, blah. And of course, then the conversations, like everybody just kind of goes in. They said, a lot of the couple, they antagonize couples. Dymond says nobody put them on, put them on the spot. And she was like, absolutely. Shay was like, you absolutely put these people on the spot. Big Aaron been in everybody's business from day one, when they were pulling everybody to the side and acting like they were the relationship experts that was hired by the show, when they just trying to, do y'all want to be together? What's y'all's end goal? What's your end goal? Stay out of grown folk business. And so Dymond, I don't really care about nobody's relationship. And so they get into it, Dymond and Shay get into it. Then Dymond tells Shay, I'm trying to help you because you are a child. Shay is 30. I cannot. Anyway, so all this stuff after that the conversation between Shay and Dymond, Shay goes in the house. Well, they are dismissed, and Shay goes in the house and she is mad. She is on the phone with a friend. She's in the bathroom talking on the phone with the friend. Now, what I found really weird is Aaron is around listening and trying to follow her and talking about, you making me feel real good. Kick him out the house too. Everybody go home. Everybody go home. Everybody go home. And so, she is like, leave me alone. And he is like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's very odd. The thing about it. So he and Dymond go and talk because he's reporting back and says, she was cussing me out. She was doing this. I'm like, Aaron, you stay cussing women out. Whatever. Terrible. So then Dymond says, well, I try to help them, but they don't want no help. We won't be offering nobody advice. Here is the news flash, y'all. Nobody asked you for your advice. And then Dymond said, well, I'm sorry that I'm also pretty. What in the hell this got to do with anything, Dymond? Hush. Dymond, you 44 years old. I'm going to leave it there. I'm 46. Okay. Millie and Gregg head to the boom boom room. Child, they taking their luggage with them like they finna go out of town. They get backpacks, they get duffel bags, they get food. What y'all going across the highway? You just can't have you one little bag, a little overnight, little weekender, leave that stuff in the main house. Y'all just going over there for one night? I don't know. They said they finally going to the boom boom room and everything to talk. And of course, they come back the next morning. Look at that, Greg swinging the little. Look at that, just happy and dancing. They said they talked and they kissed and they levitated, and they was all nice and airy and happy. So, congrats to them. Well, also, let me go back to that slide. We find out that Dymond and Aaron will be meeting with her daughter. And yay for them. So Rhonda comes back to tell everyone that they'll be meeting with Dr. Allie to kind of help them navigate other questions they may have with their relationship. So first up was Shay and Josh. And so of course, Dr. Allie is asking them about any challenges they had dealing with dealing with the ups and downs. Shay says she used to, when they used to have, conversations or tiffs, she used to cuss him out all the time, but that's something she's working on along with the level of impulsiveness. And she says it's hard to check herself in the moment. So Dr. Allie does a quick body scan exercise with her to help her become more present. That's something I like to do with my clients as well, is just help them to become more aware. You close your eyes and you start at the top of your head and you just feel you're there, so you can feel those things. So you can feel the top of your head, you can feel blood going to your heart, feel your heart beating, feel your chest rising up and down. Let that trickle down to your stomach. You feel in your stomach a little bit. Take it down to your hips. Take your hips and just feel how your hips are feeling. Let that trickle down to your thighs. Let your thighs connect with your legs and your calves and feel that, and they make them calves connect with your ankles and the bottom of your feet, and feel where your feet are, and let them just sit there and tell you, and let them sit there very quietly, very flat, just so that you can feel the energy coming from the ground, and let it drive you all the way back up to the top, and then breathe out. That was a little bit of body scan. Um, so they talk about listening to your body when you feel those feelings. She looks at Josh and tells him, well, you look pretty chill about things. And he said, well, we've argued 1,000 times. What's 1,001? And she compliments them on having someone who will love you through your ups and downs. And she tells them they seem like a couple that have figured it out, and just gives them kudos for that. I hope so. I hope they've gotten it figured out. And of course, we all know nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect. They seem to have figured things out as far as that's concerned. Um, yeah, 12 years not seeing each other in real life, but we're gonna see. I do want I I'm not gonna talk about it, not on this episode. Never mind. Diamond's daughter comes to visit. Her name is Amari. She's 19 years old. Diamond says if her daughter does not like Aaron, it's gonna be a deal breaker. Um, I don't know. I think that being that she's 19 and she's never met him before, there's going to be some issue. I'm just saying. Sorry, y'all. So Amari asked uh Aaron, big A, what is his intentions? And he said to marry your mama. And she says, why? He said, because I'm in love with her. And she was like, I don't know about that. I think it's too soon. Even though y'all been talking for 5 years, I think that's a little soon. I think that's also, yeah. Diamond says she knows all about him because they've been talking. Let me put a pin in this real quick and say she doing all this giggling and laughing like a schoolgirl. I'm saying Diamond because she's like, oh, they're gonna be meeting and all this stuff. Diamond, this man proposed to somebody online while y'all was supposedly talking. Just don't forget that. Okay. Um. So Diamond says they have been talking and everything. So the daughter says, "Well, you haven't tried to talk to me," and he said, "Well, I'm not gonna force talking to somebody's child. That's the mom's call." Now I agree with that. You just don't be like put your daughter on the phone, especially. Well, let's see, she's 19, so he's been around since she was about 13 or 14. That's how long they've been talking. So I think again, I just don't know why these people have never met in person. Let's just start there. You could have had a relationship and everything. She was like, "How many kids you got?" He was like, "6. You'll be number 7. I'm gonna take care of my daughter." Diamond just melted when he said she wanted his kids. Girl, the bar's in hell. Um. Anyway, he says he connects with Diamond because they've been through similar situations. He had been married twice, the first time in his 20s, the second time it lasted for 12 years, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Diamond comes back to sit down because she left for a while for them to talk. And then Amari says, okay, well, you get my approval. His intentions seem to be pure. Like, this couldn't have been more than maybe an hour and a half that they met. And I'm not giving my stamp of approval that's simple. No, I would need to see more. Anyway, back to meeting with Dr. Allie. Chris and Sandia are over there talking to Dr. Allie. Dr. Allie wants to know more about them. They're both Haitian, of course. Sandia says she's passionate, caring, and patient. Um, Chris, of course, says, of course, he's Haitian. And he liked for everybody to know that part, and to also let folks know that he don't deal with emotions. He likes to walk away from emotional conversations, and he's straightforward, and he's not very serious. And I just think he tries to downplay all that because I don't think too many things that he said. He may say it jokingly, but he be dead serious. Dr. Allie jumps into this and asks Sandia, what do you mean he says you're too emotional? And he's like, man. Y'all, to be honest, I watched this to review it, but I would like to fast forward past these parts when Chris is talking because he just gets on my nerves. She wants to know what changed Chris, why he shies away from emotion. Because Sandia is like, Chris tells her she's too emotional. He says it was because he was in an 8-year relationship with his ex and caring for her and her child, and he even felt like the child belonged to him. They were together so long. And then she all of a sudden one day just left. And That's what the problem is. And I'd say he still ain't over her. He ain't got his closure, even though they always say men don't need closure. He obviously needs closure. Uh, and so Dr. Allie is like, you have a wall of, might need to work on those things and everything. He needs consistency. He says it took a lot for him to heal. Newsflash, you're not healed. Um, I just don't believe these people are healed. Um, and here's the other thing. For someone to be in an 8-year relationship with you and they just suddenly walk out, there's more to this story. I need to hear the exit side. I need to know what the exit side is. Anyway, Dr. Allie says she feels confident they'll work things out. Dr. Allie, I just think they're not gonna address it. That's what I think. Ooh, child. Jody and Lil Aaron. Dr. Allie asked about their experience when they met each other for the first time. Child, why she bring that up? The entire time, Jody looked like a Sour Patch Kid. Like, don't ask me nothing, man. Aaron says he felt like the hug they share was intoxicating. Y'all, this so different. It's the same day, the same situation, but totally different experiences. Get this. He said it was intoxicating. He was excited to meet her. He was just, oh, it was just wonderful, great, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, it was awkward. And I ain't like it. And she needed to say, I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like him. But she didn't say that. Then she said, I also didn't feel good that he was trying to over impress me. And she just started chipping away at things that were wrong. Dr. Allie asked him, how does it feel to know that, she's focusing on basically everything that went wrong in your first meeting? And he said he felt sad. And she said that him having his emotions at his capacity are his, and it doesn't impact anything about her. So we already hear she said, boy, I don't give a damn about what you said. Okay. I don't care. I don't care. Dr. Allie says emotions do impact each other. And so she kept talking to Aaron, and then he admitted he has an issue with failure. So he has an issue with not making things perfect or excelling or succeeding. So if even if a relationship needed to go ahead and die, he gonna keep trying to work with that relationship simply because he's not going to fail. That is a problem. She says to him, it feels like you're dangling and trying to connect. And where do you see yourself? I just don't understand. Do you see it? Where do you see yourself with him in 2 months? It's nothing. Jody gives nothing when it comes to the relationship. When folks start asking her about him, her whole demeanor changes. She don't even want to be bothered. Why you ain't go home yet? I just don't get it. Anyway, Dr. Allie asked Aaron, just give us a couple of minutes because I need to talk to this one right here. And she's like, ooh, I'm just a problem child. Don't be proud of that. Don't be proud of that. Anyway, and this is where the episode ends because she's asking a couple of questions here and there with Joanna, and we can see in her face she don't want to be there. But she did ask her, do you think that this relationship is worth pursuing? And the girl just looking at her because she know that the answer is no. She's not even pursuing a relationship at this point. She's not. And this is where our episode ends because, of course, it's a cliffhanger for next week. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know how many more episodes I can endure. I'm guessing we halfway. I didn't see how many episodes. I don't see it getting any better, especially with Jody and with Aaron. And I'm just trying to appeal to them right now. Y'all don't like each other. Aaron and Aaron. Chris and Sandia, y'all go home too. I really only think the one that's gonna make it is Greg and Millie and Shay and Josh. And I got some issues with them because go back 12 years, Shay was only 18, maybe. So yeah, there's anyway. Let me get out of here. So thanks y'all for watching these episodes with me or viewing with me. Please feel free to drop your thoughts, what you thought about this episode in the likes and comments, whatever else you need to do to discuss this more in the comment section. Next week is episode 9, so I'm guessing it's either going to be like 12 or 16 episodes. Not really sure, but we're going to be here to watch it and commiserate and talk about why this show is just not a good idea for anybody. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.